Hey guys, so I had a client this morning that had let me know that she had started the shot. I've had clients that were on the shot before they ever started with me. I have clients that don't even see me for weight loss, they just see me for rehab things, and they're on the shot. And so she had no way of knowing, like, am I the only one that experiences this? What happens? I don't know what to expect, And so, like, let's talk about it so that way, if that's you or you're in that boat or you're considering them, at least know what to expect. Now, first, let me say that I do not promote any products whatsoever. So, like, me personally, when I lost my 60 pounds, like, I did not use anything to help me do that. And so, but it's a tool that can be used, and I'll never judge anybody for whatever tool they decide to use. I say this because unfortunately, I have heard and seen where maybe doctors didn't necessarily talk about all the possible side effects or like the pros or the cons, and I think anybody and everybody should be informed as to what are some of the pros and cons. Now, as I'm sharing this, is this going to be a complete list? No, absolutely not. And I'm just going based off of what I remember from the conversation that happened 5 hours ago. So first and foremost, anything that you decide to use, and it could be, there's so many things out there right now, but let's say that you in this particular case, going for the shots, use it as a tool. It is not something that's going to, oh, it's fixed, I don't have to do a thing, I don't have to learn how to eat. No, you still have to learn how to eat. You still have to learn how to take care of your body. You still got to eat all the right things, the nutritious things, and teach your body a new normal. Anytime that you use any tool, okay, it could be any of them. If you use any tool, like, you want it to be something where you are using it as an opportunity to start over and a restart. Use it as an opportunity for getting rid of any of those addictions that you might have to sugar or caffeine or alcohol or sodas. So make sure that you're using it as a tool, that you're like, and you have that mindset going into it. Because if you don't, then what's going to happen is you slowly start coming off of, we're talking about the shots here, so let's just talk about the shots here. But you slowly start coming off of them, and then all of a sudden, you're just going to gain the weight right back. Then what was the point, right? And then you've started this yo-yo effect that your body is hating you for doing it, that to it. So make sure that you're using it as a tool, not a crutch. My client this morning, she had no idea. I was like, well, did they test your A1C? She had no idea what I was talking about. But your A1C is essentially like a marker that they use for, think of it like an umbrella surface level. You know, if people look at your blood sugars, but look at it more of a surface level. So, you know, it's going to recognize if somebody's insulin resistant, right? Or if somebody's straight up diabetic, they're going to look at that A1C number, and maybe not necessarily just blood sugars. It's going a little bit above and beyond and a bit into more detail. Again, kind of like surface view. Then obviously you want to make sure that you have never had a history of thyroid cancer in your family, because that's unfortunately one of the side effects. You also want to make sure that you yourself have not had complicated issues with your thyroid to where you haven't really been able to regulate it or get yourself into a healthy place with it. If you've been struggling with that, there's some other things that sounds like that might be worth considering getting those taken care of before deciding to go after the shots. Now, another thing is, anytime that you are losing weight at a high rate and in a shorter amount of time, you are going to lose muscle. There is no way around that. So in general, people tend to lose muscle anytime that they have weight loss, but especially when you're losing a larger number in a shorter amount of time, you are absolutely losing muscle mass. So make sure that you're incorporating and doing something active, and you're keeping those muscles strong so that you can maintain as much of that as you possibly can. And then of course, if you have muscle loss, then that could also potentially mean that if you've had a previous injury, there's a small possibility that might come back. So for my client this morning, her and I have rehab things. She was a client when we very first started. She's very active. When we very first started, it was for issues with her low back, which we like literally obliterated, and she's been able to do literally anything and everything that she's wanted to since that day. But I let her know, you know, hey, since you're going to be losing some muscle mass, there's a possibility that you might recognize a little bit of soreness that's not normally there, because if you're losing muscle mass, you're also losing some of those muscles' ability to stabilize the area. In which case, I reminded her, you know exactly what to do. You know exactly what your stuff is, and if something comes up, obviously, I will see you the following week and we'll be able to take care of it. But just know, hey, if something comes up, don't freak out and don't feel like, oh no, I've gone backwards or something's wrong. It's just something, it's a reality that happens with, you know, a side effect. You lose some muscle mass, there's a possibility, and if it doesn't happen, awesome. Just know that it can. Another thing too that a lot of people experience is that they're not hungry. And so, you know, do you force yourself to eat? I guess that really just depends on the person. That really depends on what their normal is. Like, yeah, you want to be making sure that you're taking in enough protein. You want to make sure that you're taking in nutrients, because you don't want to just let your body start breaking down. You know, there's an element to weight loss that your body is breaking down some things, but we want to break down the fat cells. We don't want to break down your hormones or break down any of the other good things that help keep your body like functioning and happy and all the things. And then of course another one is that people experience changes in taste of things. So you know, they may go to drink a soda and it makes them sick, or they go to eat a cupcake and right? And so no, that's some of and usually it's the bad things. So usually the things that you really shouldn't be having anyway taste horrible. And so really great opportunity for those people that are addicted to sugar and things. And then another thing too is that sometimes like the days following, and this has ranged from like the very next day up to 3 days, is that you may feel sick and just or nauseous for days after your injections. Know that seems to be pretty normal. Everybody that I know has experienced that to some level, and obviously those vary in degrees. The doctors seem to know about it, but obviously make sure that you're always communicating those things with your physician and who you're seeing for those injections. And then that way that I want you guys to be having an open conversation about what you're experiencing. I've also had you know, people that start at one dose and then, you know, it's not working, and so maybe they'll slowly elevate it, and if that happens, that's another thing too. But anyway, I hope that's helpful. You know, my goal in this is not to say, oh yeah, you know, but just, hey, if you're gonna use it as a tool, make sure it's a tool and not a crutch, and take care of yourself in the process. Do all the smart things and use it in the best way possible. If you're gonna do it, fine, but make sure that you are taking care of you and being an advocate for your own health. I love you guys.